Men in the Arena Army, we salute you and welcome to the Trailhead. This is team meeting number 7. Who owns you? This lesson to me is guttural. When I look at these trees behind me, I see a lot of brokenness. In fact, there are broken branches everywhere. You know, when we come to the table of life, when we walk into this thing, we will experience brokenness. It is inevitable. When I think of brokenness, I think of this: who broke me? So if I'm not the one who's breaking me, what happened that I've experienced brokenness? Someone who I loved, someone who I trusted, or someone who I never knew might have violated me, might have hurt me, might have wounded me, and I experienced brokenness like this tree. Now here's the issue with brokenness, guys. At some point in my life, I have to deal with my brokenness. And if I am dealing with and struggling with unforgiveness, bitterness, or resentment, that is ultimately on me. I struggled with a guy for years who I was really bitter towards. I was resentful towards. He was a guy who I thought hurt me. And whenever I would see him driving around town, I would shout out in my car, "That little," and I would say a cuss word. True story. I realized that my lack of forgiveness and my resentment was on me. That guy didn't care that he owned me. That guy didn't care that he hurt me. That guy may or may not ever come to me and say, "Hey, will you forgive me for what I've done?" And I did not want to carry that particular person around with me and give him space in my heart, like so many of us do when we've been broken and we allow somebody to own us through this thing called unforgiveness. You know, someone once said, to forgive is to set a prisoner free, only to realize you were that prisoner. And that's important. You know, in Deuteronomy chapter 6, 4 and 5, it's called the Shema. Shema in Hebrew means, hey, listen up, hear this. And so in Deuteronomy chapter 6, 4 and 5, we read this: "Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God, the Lord is one, and you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all of your soul, and all of your strength." And this is the Shema. It's to love God with everything we have. Jesus called this the greatest of all of the commandments. So if we're called to love God with everything we have, and we carry the bitterness and resentment of somebody else in our heart, then they own a piece of our heart, and God does not have all of our heart. So we are never truly free until we forgive. We are never truly free to love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength until we have been released from this bondage of bitterness and resentment and we forgive. In Matthew chapter 6, 14 and 15, Jesus said something profound. This is powerful stuff. He said, "If you forgive when others hurt you, I will forgive you. But if you do not forgive others when they hurt you, I will not forgive you." And that sounds so harsh to me. But what Jesus is saying is this: when you walk in unforgiveness and you walk in bitterness, you lose the ability to love God freely with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength because somebody else is in his stead. And here's the interesting thing about this: that person who owns you is the last person on the planet you want to share space in your heart with the God of the universe, Jesus Christ. That's the irony of this whole thing. We have to release that person and get them out of our hearts so we can love God freely. This is a heavy message today, guys. You're going to love it as you dive into deep waters. You have to, though, overcome this thing called unforgiveness, because if you get this, everyone will win. And if you don't, everyone will lose. So work through bitterness. Come out on the other side as a man who is free and who has forgiven. Get out of the anonymous bleachers so that you can get into the arena at full capacity, on full display, and make an impact with those who love you and trust you the most.